Hi there. We are going to make an exercise called intermediate assembly. Oh, look at that. That looks familiar. This thing keeps coming back to haunt us, and this is the last time, I promise. All right, so let's get into it. I'm going to click the next page arrow, and we will get started. All right, this is a big one, 27 pages. Oh dear, but we'll get through it. Not a problem. All right, first thing, let's click the link, open the public document. Again, I'm going to right-click and say open link in new tab only because I don't want the instructions to go away like it did to me last time. And here it is. Now we're going to make a copy to edit because you always need to do that. And I click owned by me and open here. And let's get started here. All right, in the copied document, select an Add Element Plus and choose Create Assembly. So this time we're actually creating our assembly. Before we just use tabs that were already there. The big plus here is for creating new tabs. And when I click on the plus, you see there's a lot of different things we can make. We can make folders, drawings, assemblies, part studios, all kinds of fun stuff. This time we're making an assembly. So I'm going to click that, and you notice we've got a new tab down here called Assembly 1. On the next slide it says right click on the Assembly 1, click Rename Small Arm Subassembly. So I'm going to right click, select Rename. I'm going to type Small Arm Subassembly. There we go. All right, what's next? Navigate to the newly created Assembly tab. Choose Insert from the Assembly toolbar and select the pivot arm, small arm grip, small arm pin, and under the Part Studio filters. So there's several things. We're getting, how many here? 1, 2, 3, 4 things. Okay, so it should look like this when we're all done. Okay, so we're going to go back. We're going to hit Insert, and we're going to select those things. We've got the pivot pin, the small arm grip, and the small arm pin. Now I'm going to back out a little bit so we can see. Now I did a boo-boo, and I'm going to hit escape, and I'm going to do it again. I'll tell you why that's a mistake. The reason that's a mistake is if you start wiggling around the mouse out there after you hit insert, it's going to lock it into a weird spot. So I'm going to hit insert again. This time I'm going to click those things. Click the green check box before I do anything else. Okay, the reason is look where see where the origin is? I want that origin to be there. Okay, and as soon as you start wiggling out there, you're moving it around, and that's not good. All right, let's go back. The problem was it was zoomed way in, and I said, I don't like that, but I forgot. You really want to click the green check box before you do anything else. But I'm glad I made that mistake, so you can, if you make the same mistake, you can just see that it's not something that you want to do. That's a thing I learned through experience. All right, select the group command from the assembly toolbar. Choose the small arm pin, and the pivot pin. Everything but the grip. So I'm going to click on where it says group, and then I'm going to click those three. Whoops, missed. There we go, and there. Okay, and then I don't know if I'm supposed to rename it. Let's see. Accept the group. Okay, that works. And there you go. Now, one of the things I will mention to you, when you group parts together like that, that is exactly the same, well, or functionally the same as creating fasten mates between them. Since these things were all created together, and you don't really want these things doing any kind of motion relative to one another. You just want them fastened. That group is a really cool way to make what amounts to fasten connectors very quickly. All right, next slide. It is best practice to fix one part in the assembly relative to the assembly's space origin. We will fix the center of the pivot pin to the assembly's origin. To fix the pivot pin, first select the pivot pin. The triad manipulator will become visible. Drag the triad manipulator center circle and snap it to the mate connection point located at the center of the pivot pin as shown. Okay. So I'm going to click on the pin, and there's that triad manipulator that they're talking about. I'm going to grab the center circle and I'm going to snap it to the center, just like we did. It wants to snap to it very much so. So there it is. And now it's snapped to the center. Now, I'm going to go on to the next slide. Oh no, the instructions, oh, we got to scroll down. Aha. Next, right-click on the triad manipulator center circle and select Move to Origin. The pivot pin will snap to the origin at the mate connection point. Finally, right-click anywhere on the pivot pin and select Fix. Okay, so this is what they mean. We're going to hover over that circle again. I'm going to right-click and say Move to Origin. You notice it moved everything to the origin. And then I'm going to right-click again on the part and hit Fix. What that does is it locks that part of the assembly in that position, and it's not going anywhere. I can try to drag it, but it's not going anywhere. If I grab the, grip, it'll move around. This is now fixed. That's helpful because you can cause problems for yourself by accidentally dragging things around, and it's nice to have something locked in. All right, here we go. On to the next part. To mate the small arm grip to the small arm, select the Revolute Mate. The Revolute Mate will allow the small arm grip to rotate. Select the mate connectors at the mate connection points shown. So they want the inside part of the pin here, and then the inside point of there. Now, honestly, it's just as easy to select this part here and the outside here. I don't even have to rotate the drawing. I don't know why they did that. I'm going to do it the way I like to do it. And I just want to show you there's always more than one way to do these things. Okay, so I'm going to click the Revolute Mate. I'm going to click there and there. See how easy that was? I do not know why they would want to go and do it the other place. Maybe there's a good reason, and I just don't know what it is. But I have not seen a problem with it doing it this way. And it's easier. And we're lazy. Therefore, we do what's easy. The good kind of lazy. The efficient kind of lazy. All right. Be sure to select the correct mate. The center of the peg is not the same as the centroid of the planar face. Okay, great. All right, next. To create a second instance of the small arm, right-click on the small arm and select Copy Small Arm, brackets 1. Right-click again, this time in the assembly space, and select Paste Small Arm. Okay, so I'm going to right-click on this. Actually, I got to select it first. Oh, wait, no, bad. I'm still in the Revolute. That, boy, I always forget that. If you don't X out of that, it will continue to be there. It's actually really nice when you have to do a bunch of mates in a row. You don't have to keep opening up that dialog, but it always throws me off because I always forget it's open. Okay, I'm going to right-click. I'm going to say Copy Small Arm, and then somewhere out here, I'm going to right-click again and say Paste Small Arm. And then we've got a second copy of that arm. Okay. To mate the pivot pin in the second instance of the small arm, select the Fasten Mate. The Fasten Mate will prevent any motion between the pivot pin and the second instance of the small arm. Select the mate connectors at the mate connections shown and accept the mate. So we're going to do a fastened between this pin and that arm. So again, I'm going to get the Fasten Mate. I'm going to click here and then there. Whoops, right there. Make sure we're on the right face. And there it is. And I like it. Okay. Oh, no, I don't. What happened? Oh, you know what? That was dumb. I did a dumb thing. That was not the same. I'm going to go back and I'm going to undo what I just did. It needs to be all the way in. So this is a case where you actually would have to do something more like what they're talking about. Okay, lining it up with the edges, that's not how it works. If you notice, it sticks out a little bit on one side. So my bad. So this time I'm going to go in and I'm going to get that point at the kind of base of the pin, scroll around to the other side and get it there. And I'm going to accept that and see now it looks right. Okay, well, hey, mistakes happen. And I am not above making mistakes. All right, what's next? We've created our small arm sub-assembly. This will be inserted into a top-level working clamp assembly. Let's create the top-level assembly. Now, one of the things I want to point out is, you notice we didn't do another Revolute over there? We don't need it. As long as you have one Revolute, it's going to be able to revolve. And two of them would just be redundant and unnecessary. Okay, so it's just like you notice we didn't do a Fasten Mate for that kind of rust-colored pin. because it wasn't necessary. So you only need as many mates as you need to put it together. You just don't need to keep going. All right, on to the next step. Right-click on the Assembly 1 tab and select Rename. Wait a minute, I missed something. Add another assembly. Yes, we're going to add another assembly using the plus, and then we're going to right-click on it and rename it to Working Clamp Assembly. So we'll click the plus, select Create Assembly. Now we're going to right-click here, and we're going to rename it Working Clamp Assembly. Bingo. All right. Now, navigate to the newly created Assembly tab. Choose Insert from the Assembly toolbar and select the small arm subassembly under the Assemblies filter. Click the green check mark to insert the subassembly. Man, that's a lot of tongue twisters there. All right, insert. And you notice we don't see our assembly here. Where'd it go? You have to click this tab, Assemblies, and there it is. It hasn't generated the preview yet. Doesn't matter. We only have one. So we're going to click that and click the green checkbox. You notice I did that before I went out and rummaged around in the big window. Okay. Right-click the pivot pin and select Fix. Okay, we're going to do that again. We're going to right-click and fix it. And you notice it's already located in the same spot relative to the origin that it was in the small arm subassembly. It remembers that stuff. It's kind of cool. But this is a new assembly. We have to fix it again. It's because it's fixed over in the small arm subassembly doesn't mean it's going to be fixed in any new assembly. And so that is always something you want to do almost right away when you're working with this stuff. All right, what is next? Next, we need to insert the other necessary parts. Okay, so it looks like what we need is the large arm grip, and the large arm pin, and we're going to insert those. So let's go and insert. Now we want where is it? The large arm pin, and the large arm grip. Oh, and I did the thing. It doesn't matter though, because this is not where these belong. So I am going to zoom out and just put it over here somewhere. Okay. Oh, well, actually it didn't want me to do that. For some reason, it does not like me doing it that way, and that's fine. We can go back, redo it. We're going to insert all three of those things and hit the green checkbox. Okay. Next, we are going to, since the large arm and the large arm pin were inserted in the desired position, we can group them together instead of adding a fasten mate. Okay, well, we could have done that anyways. Okay, whatever. So we're going to do another group. We're going to click on the group. We're going to click this, and we're going to group them. Okay, great. Select the group, accept the group. Moving on. Now we're going to do another revolute mate, and we're going to basically do the same thing we did before. We're going to insert that into that hole and mate those two. I'm actually going to pull this out and away so we can see what we're doing. We're going to get that revolute mate. I'm going to zoom in a bit, get here and here, and we'll accept that. All right. Next, to mate the large arm to the small arm, select the revolute mate, and we're gonna attach that thing over here. Okay, so see, it's not in the correct position. These were in the correct position relative to each other, but the thing isn't. As a matter of fact, I'm going to have to drag it out anyways. Oh, hit the X, get rid of that, or else we would have been scratching our head. Okay, because I need to be able to see what I'm doing here. So I'm going to get another revolute mate. I'm going to click here, there. Oh, I missed one of them. Try it again. Come on, buddy. There we go. And you notice, hey, we lost this. Hit solve, and that fixes that. If it does something weird while you're doing mating, hit the solve button and it'll fix it. All right, there you go. Looking cool. Next, after putting this together, we realized the large arm, large grip, and large arm pin would be better suited in its own sub-assembly rather than inserted individually at the top level assembly. Not to worry, we can do this after the fact. Select the large arm grip, and large arm pin. Right-click and choose Move to New Sub-Assembly. This is cool. So what they're saying is, we pulled these things out of the Part Studio, but what if we actually had another sub-assembly like we did before, which actually makes a lot of sense. So I'm going to hit X to get out of the Revolute Mate. I'm going to select all three of these things. Did I get them all? Yeah. And I'm going to right-click, and I'm going to find the thing that says, where is it? Huh. Okay, what did I do wrong? Probably right-click and choose Move to New Sub-Assembly. That's weird. I noticed it didn't turn this yellow. Why? Oh. Oh, it's selecting faces. That's really weird. Here, let's unselect that stuff. Let's just click over here. There we go. And now we're going to right click and use, where is it? Still don't see it. Right click and select Move to New Subassembly. Maybe we have to right click in the white zone. Let's try that. Well, that is very interesting. That's not down here where it says. Look at that drawing. It's right underneath copy and paste. Copy. Gives us the option to create a drawing. Okay, guys, we are at a standstill. I'm going to pause this, figure it out, and come right back. Okay, I figured it out. This is not in the instructions. I don't know if this is a glitch that showed up, but you know, sometimes it's my job to figure these things out. In order to get this to work, I had to come over here and do a thing to each of the mates that we created in this assembly called suppressing. So when I right click, you see here it says unsuppress. You notice it looks normal here and then it's got a line drawn through it. Suppressing means you're temporarily disabling that mate, okay? And if I go now and select the three parts, right click and say, if you notice, oh wow, that's funny. It's not working now either. Well, that's weird. There we go, Move to New Subassembly. You know what, I'm gonna try something because it did it when I clicked over here. If that's what it winds up being, I'm gonna be really upset. Well, not really. I got worse things going on in my life than this. Not really worse, a little worse. Okay, let's try it again. I'm gonna click them on them over here. So you gotta click over here. Now it was not very specific, I don't think. It just says right click. That's not helpful. Okay, not good instructions. But hey, you know what? That's what I'm here for, right? To figure these things out and then teach you guys. Okay, so we're gonna move that to a new subassembly. And bingo, look, there's a new subassembly. And I think we're gonna name that the large arm subassembly. So let's go back, right click, rename large arm subassembly. Those of you who don't like to rename things, well, guess what? You start causing lots of confusion when you don't rename things. After a while, you get assembly 1, assembly 2, assembly 3, and you just can't remember what they are. All right, next. Navigate to the newly created assembly tab. Notice that we have all the fun stuff in there. So, yes, there they are. located relatively to where we put them in the master assembly. That's kind of fun. So now let's go on. We're going to create a second instance of the large arm, and we're going to do kind of what we did before. We're going to add it to the other side. So we're going to go back to that. We're going to stay in here. We're going to right click on that part, copy the large arm, come out here and paste the large arm. And this time I believe we're going to mate this to this. Let's double check. This time the assembly space and paste it. Yep, I was right. So we're gonna mate it just like I said. And I'm going to get the fasten mate, click there and there. And there we go. And now we have this large arm assembly. Now watch what happens when we go back to the working clamp assembly. Oh hey, look, the change we made shows up. And there it is. That's so cool. All right, next. We'll insert another instance of the large arm pin using a different method. Select insert from the assembly bar, toolbar, and choose the large arm pin. Click and paste it down in the assembly space. Okay, so we're going to hit insert. We're going to get that large arm pin and we're going to drop it in over here somewhere. And then hit the checkbox. Next, we are going to mate that into the bottom there. I don't feel like this is radically different than anything we've done. We're going to fasten this to this, and there it is. All right, return to the top level working clamp assembly. Let's recap this exercise so far. You know what, I think I put that in the wrong spot, didn't I? Oh well, it's all good. All right, now look at this. Yeah, check out, oh my goodness, my clamp can go through itself. That's not fun. So let's go back and add some limits to that Revolute mate number 2. We're gonna make it 0 to 30. So we're gonna go to Revolute 2, and we're gonna edit it, and we're gonna make some limits, 0 and 30. We're gonna accept it, and now our clamp only goes so far, and it's more realistic. Okay, if you're just trying to see if it works, I don't suppose you really need to do that, but it's nice to see it being somewhat realistic. So there you go. Neato. And the last thing, they want us to do this elaborate thing to check it. Please don't do that. It's so hard to get those things to work. So we're not going to. As a matter of fact, you are done. And thank you so much for sticking with me, and we'll see you next time.